Welcome to Going Underground, a podcast by yourcalling.co.uk. My name is Graeme Smith, Editor-in-Chief of Your Calling. As well as chatting to up-and-coming artists on this podcast, I get the rare pleasure of talking to a genuine household name. This very special episode is one of them. Newton Faulkner has been going strong since the early noughties and is perhaps making his best music to date at the moment. I interviewed him about getting out of his own way, what it was like to break through, and the baffling world of modern music. Keep listening to find out more. Everyone knows the name Newton Faulkner. Once thought of as a maestro of the acoustic guitar, his work since his noughties breakthrough has gone in quite some different directions. None more so than his latest singles, which have shown us Brit rock, grooviness, and electronic pop. With a new album on the way and a tour to follow, now's a great time to be chatting to him. Newton, thank you very much for joining us on Going Underground.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
So we've recently been sharing tracks on the blog from your upcoming album Octopus, and I have to say I've been loving the energy of them. It seems like you had a lot of fun putting them together. Is that the case?
Yeah, no, I had a huge amount of fun and worked with some really great people as well, which had been a little while, I think, because partly the nature of the industry, partly kind of just, kind of post COVID. Actually, to be honest, just before COVID, I was like, I really can't wait to work with lots of other people. And then obviously COVID happened and I worked with no one else and made an entire album completely on my own. Um, which was intense, but a massive learning curve. I learned a huge amount kind of making that record because I couldn't even call the people that I'd normally call just because like, it just felt like that would be like really intrusive to people's existence. So I was going to bed with manuals of bits of gear and software. And I went so deep, but off the back of that process, I think I really learned what I wanted to do and what I wanted things to sound like, and what really excited me as opposed to kind of following other things. A huge thing with this record has been getting out of my own way.
What do you mean by that, getting out of your own way?
Well, I think in the past there's like there was one question that I'd like banned from my brain when I was making this record, and that was what what should Newton Faulkner do? What would Newton Faulkner do next on this thing? Because obviously there's a lot of weight and a lot of time. Like it's 20 years worth of making music. And there's a lot of kind of obviously like amazing things that have happened. I've had an incredible ride, but there's some baggage that I just think I needed to shed. And I know shaving my head on one level is totally superficial, but it does like I feel like that combined with actually genuinely trying to shed my past was like quite it felt like kind of everything kind of happened at the same time. So with this record it's been very much about letting the music go wherever it wanted, even if it I felt like it might not be somewhere people would allow me to go.
Mm.
But because of that, there's like a freedom to it. And there's I think that's where a lot of the kind of fun came from, was like, oh, let's just see what it wants to do. What kind of vocal does it want? It wants like a shouty man. I've never been a shouty man. Let's try that and see what happens. And spent days in the studio. My wife came in a few times to be like, "Are you okay?" And this is when I was making "All right, all right, all right." The first thing she was like, "What is going on in here? What are you doing?" Um, and then I kind of made it as a joke for myself. It would, at that point, I wasn't even writing it for the record. But I was just like, it feels like it wants to do this. Let's just do this and see what happens. And I really threw myself into it, and I realized by the end quite how many like different characters are in it. Like it's got loads of different. It leans in like loads of different directions within the kind of 3 minute song. But at each point, it was like, what does it feel like it wants to do next? It wants to go there. It wants to go this way. It wants this kind of thing. It wants kind of female vocals to kind of bounce it out. And these are all things that I kind of would have maybe avoided in the past,
Mm.
just because I'd be caught up in maybe chasing the success of something that went well in the past and being like, if I go too far from that, will that kind of alienate my existing fan base? But I mean, so far, everyone that's heard the new record, either in its entirety or the three singles, has been really like pleasantly surprised and shocked. I mean, shocked is kind of great. I mean, the worst thing possible would be if someone's like, nah, it's nice. I mean, nice is the worst. Don't get me started on nice. But I think this record just is, it's a totally different, has a totally different feel to it than anything I've done before, because it just kind of let each track. I mean, that's one of the reasons the title I felt worked so well. So with the name Octopus, it's reaching in all these different directions and filling this kind of strange space.
You mentioned already in terms of working with others, so there's a few collaborations in the singles already. So all right included Bloom Twins, and you worked with
Yeah,
Los Bichos and Lissy. What was it like working with them?
that was amazing. I mean, it did, part of the kind of process did remind me why I kind of started making music on my own, because people are hard to get in touch with and hard to get to do things and hard to like, it was just those getting those initial balls rolling was, that was really hard work. It took a huge amount of patience. I mean, there's one, it's not really a collaboration or a feature, but I got Ruben James to play on a track, who's an amazing artist in his own right. His new album's doing great as well. Came out a couple of weeks ago, but he played piano on a track, and it took like a year and a bit, like constantly being like, "Can we do this thing?" And then once he'd done it, I mean, it was a like he smashed it out of the park. It's such an amazing job. I mean, there's another whole tale that goes with. It was my worst piece of file management ever. So after chasing him for a year and a bit, he did it and he sent it, and I was like, "Gosh, this is perfect. This is exactly what I wanted." And then I got sent loads of drums, and then my computer was a bit full, and then I cleared my downloads, and I went back into the file with Ruben James's amazing pianos, the greatest pianos I've ever received in my life. And it did transpire that I had deleted them,
Oh dear.
which was not a good day for me. Actually, I spent a week in denial, which was pretty fun. Before I told anyone, like I just carried it around in my head, being like, I cannot have done that. That can't be real. Um, Luckily, he was around to resend them, and it didn't take a year, which is great.
Brilliant. Um, just last thing on your new music, and you mentioned it already in terms of shaving your head, which you did live on stage at
Yeah,
Kensington's Assembly Hall. It was in aid of a Teenage Cancer Trust as well. How did that come about?
no, I've worked with Teenage Cancer Trust for a long time, um, on like varying different levels, kind of over the years, because it's been a very kind of long relationship. So that was the first kind of charity I ever did anything for, I think. And then kind of kept kind of coming back. And then when we were shaving my head, it was like, this is quite an obvious kind of link up here. So, and it was, I mean, I was doing it anyway. It wasn't like they didn't come to me and be like, will you shave your head? And I was like, yeah, why not? Like it was on the cards for me. Um, and it was an amazing thing to be able to do. And it raised a lot of money, which was incredible. People were really generous, which was a beautiful thing. I think we left it live. So when you go and watch the video, I think the link at the bottom still works. You can still keep donating to them via that, which is great. I think it's just keeping, because obviously not everyone's seen it. I was only, what, 1,000 people at the gig, so they saw it live. But and then however many people have seen the video, but it's still kind of still rolling, which is amazing.
Do you miss the dreadlocks at all?
Absolutely not. I really thought I would as well. It was strange. I kind of thought that the kind of way it would affect me, it's confused me at both ends, because in all the ways I thought I'd find it really kind of impactful. It hasn't impacted me at all, but it's impacted me in loads of ways that I actually didn't take into account whatsoever. I mean, I thought I would feel more kind of different physically, but on one level, it was so annoying because even like getting on a t-shirt was quite hard. You had to like get your arm underneath your hair and like pull it through, and it was like, and it was heavy, and then, like when it got wet, it was really heavy, and kids climbed up your back, and I shut it in a cab door once while it was about to drive off. That was terrifying. Um, and it was long enough to be quite difficult to manage. Um, but it's weird. I feel like it's affected how I kind of approach work more than anything else. Because I didn't realize the two were so interlinked. Like the kind of weight of, I guess it was that guy that looked a bit like a tree and sang "Dream Catch Me" was that guy. But that guy is obviously always be part of who I am. But I think I've been through a lot of things, good and bad. Like I've had two kids. Tragedies have occurred. Like there's so much more to the picture now, and I think I kind of associate the first album with absolute innocence on my part because I was what 20, like nothing had happened to me. I was so innocent, and so like everything's great, all problems can be solved, no one should worry about anything at all. Which I think is why people come back to it because it is so overwhelmingly positive.
Mm.
Other than Spread Towards the Sun. Was it on the first album? I think it was, wasn't it? That's the only dark moment.
Mm.
The rest of it is kind of overwhelmingly positive. And innocent. Even Uncomfortably Slow is kind of it's mildly depressing, but it's still kind of quite simplistic.
Mm. I mean, that's a perfect segue to talk about that sort of that noughties breakthrough. I mean, what was it like for you when you first broke through? What were the highs? What were the lows?
I was so kind of thoughtful through it because I think when things started kicking off, and obviously I've been working towards it for a long time. It wasn't like it on some levels it went from 0 to 10 million miles an hour, but then in other ways it was all quite logical, kind of step by step things. So like the gigs so gradually increased from doing gigs and no one's there to doing gigs and there's some people there doing gigs, there's some more people there, bigger gigs that are kind of half full, there's still more people than before but not quite, and then they started selling out and it just kind of logically snowballed. But then yeah, when obviously kind of radio got behind it and stuff, that was such like a huge kind of hoof forwards. um but I think as I was watching it unfold, and I had some friends that were kind of in varying degrees of their career, and I saw some go completely off the rails. I saw some people totally self-sabotage themselves when what they thought was their dream started becoming real, and then they didn't like it when it was real because that was too much. um and I think I had like a lot of quiet words with myself. A lot of them are like, okay, there's a huge amount of stuff going on, and I reckon probably between 70 and
I could be
90%
said.
is total just falsities, and like it's not real, and you can tell it's not real. But I didn't want to get sucked into the bits that aren't real and then neglect the bits that are. So I spent a lot of time identifying what it is that I actually love about what I do and what I want to keep doing, and things that I'm happy for to kind of come and go and not always chase that, because I think it would have led me down quite a dark path. I think it would have been. I mean, obviously, there's everything's kind of available, and you can go down like the drink route, which I did a bit. Not didn't go crazy, but and drugs are like just there, and it's like nothing's hard to get a hold of if you're 20 and surrounded by people. And I was very much like that route. I don't I can kind of see where that would go. And I had other people that went down that route, and I was like, that doesn't look as fun as I think they thought it was going to be. So let's deviate from that. And at the end of the day, I kind of decided that what I love is the work. So let's always just focus on the work. And I think it's probably one of the most productive conversations I've ever had with myself, because I've been, regardless of anything else, I have supported my family and kind of mortgage and all the kind of all of this is supported by me doing what I love doing and doing the work, which is a beautiful, amazing thing. I mean, people occasionally like ask about like my kind of definition of success, and basically, I've never had to do anything else. I've never had another job. When I was about 13, 14, I worked on a farm for a bit. That's my only other job. I'm very unqualified for most things.
Well,
um,
good thing you're
which
so
is
good at music, then.
so yeah, for me, it's just, and I think it's something I kind of locked in quite early
Mm.
because I could see the possibilities. I could see the kind of darker path of just chasing fame at the expense of everything else. And
Mm.
I wasn't why I wanted to do it. Wasn't why I wanted to sing. Wasn't why I wanted to play guitar. I wanted to play guitar because I wanted to play guitar. So anything that kind of detracted from that, I kind of avoided, so I could focus on what I felt was kind of genuinely important.
Mm. How do you think things were for new artists back then compared to new artists now?
Totally different landscape.
Mm.
I mean, it could not have changed more. I mean, so if we go back, if we kind of analyze that kind of entry point, social media did not exist. Wasn't a word, like it wasn't a word that existed. Um, I was big on MySpace. At one point, it was me, Lily Allen, and Kate Nash were the biggest things on MySpace. That's kind of um, going back to that point. And radio was kind of still like the absolute king. Streaming didn't really exist. Like all the things that are now the biggest parts of the industry were non-existent at that point. So, I mean, in no ways was it easy. It's never been easy. The music industry is not, at no point has been a walk in the park. Um, but the challenges were totally different at that point. I think what you needed to kind of have a certain amount of traction to get enough attention, which was bums on seats, really. So if you could do a good gig and get people to it, then that was kind of how you built. But now, even if you do really good gigs and get bums on seats, if those don't translate to numbers in the first places people tend to look, which is Instagram and TikTok at the moment, then that counts for nothing, really. So it's completely different. I mean, in the whole industry in terms of how touring relates to albums is completely the other way up. Like you'd tour to promote the records that you were making money from, where now you release records. I mean, some people release records purely so they can go on tour. So it's like a totally upside down thing from where it began. I mean, it is, yeah, it's different. I mean, kind of access to things has increased for everyone, like the access to music technology and being able to have studios in your house didn't really happen. Like I think when I came out, there was a track just before, which was the first thing to be in the charts that someone made in their bedroom. And obviously all of that unfolding into, I mean, I've got technology on my phone that can do more kind of production work than the computer that I had when I started. Like it's crazy. Like the kind of telescoping of technological development is mind blowing, and it's not slowing down. If anything, yeah, but the whole AI side of things is changing everything again, and it is, yeah, it's a very different landscape. And I mean, it's whether it's easier or harder, I have absolutely no idea.
Mm.
Um, for me, having kind of grown up in one situation and finding myself in another, I have to keep re-educating myself as to how things work. But it's a fascinating thing to watch unfold.
Mm.
And there's loads of like really interesting areas. So let's say in Iceland, they got different words for different types of music. So it's like fully split. So you've got the music that you listen to in the office while you're doing your emails. And then there's music that you listen to on headphones on vinyl. And it's like a totally different, they've completely separated, which in some ways I think is quite interesting and makes perfect sense. Um,
Yeah.
and the thing that baffles me about this particular time period, I can be summed up in a conversation I had with a cab driver. I was like, "Oh, so what kind of music do you listen to?" Because he'd asked what I'd done. So I did music, I had guitars. It's like, oh, cool. So you did that. Yep. What kind of thing? Bit like that. What kind of thing do you listen to? Oh, I listen to kind of chill house. I was like, oh, what kind of artist? What kind of producers? Um, and he totally like unironically said, "Oh, I just type chill house and then enter, and then I get chill house, and I like it." So, that's interesting. So, can you name anyone you listen to? It's like, no, absolutely no idea. Like as I said, I type in chill house and I press go. That's music.
Yeah,
It's like,
there is
wow.
yeah, there's a yeah, it almost feels like artists are trying to get onto a playlist of things which are very similar to what they're doing, and then that playlist becomes the popular thing, and it's not them that people are listening to, it's not their music in particular, it's that playlist. So the playlist
Yeah,
is what's
I know it's the fact that people don't even know what it is they're listening to. I
yeah,
find it's like the polar opposite of if you go back to kind of vinyl culture, which I do think all the kind of links with fashion and music, and I think that came from having to physically go and buy something and not really be able to hear it before you'd bought it. So you'd had to know what it was. So you'd have someone that dressed a way that you liked and made music that you liked. And when they released something, you'd go and buy it. And there'd be other people in that genre, and you'd go and buy that music without really hearing it first and spend your money and then take it home. And then because it was the clothes, it was the music, it was the whole like vibe was encapsulated in that. You'd know the drummer's name of your favorite band. I mean, if people can't name the band name, no one can name like a current bass player. Like if you go like it's such a huge shift, really.
mm, mm.
Whether that's good or bad, I have no idea.
Yeah.
I kind of refuse to be outraged
Mm. No, it
because
remains to be
I just
seen
don't think it's worth it.
how it goes, doesn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah. So lastly, I just wanted to wrap up by talking about your tour. So
Hmm.
you're it's taking place across October and November.
Yeah.
You stop off at Project House in Leeds on the 22nd of October. What should the audience expect from your new show?
Well, the music is quite different. It's a lot more. I don't know how. I mean, I really struggle to describe it still. I've got slightly better at doing it, but it definitely feels a lot wilder, a lot more aggressive in places. It's a lot more kind of, yeah, it's a lot faster. Even like all the tempos are kind of up from where I've, like in general, if you take like a kind of average. Um, and there's a lot more. It's just got more balls than anything I've done before. So I need to, I think the live show is going to have to go maximum balls, which I think is going to be really, really fun. What I'm working on at the moment, because I've been pinned to my seat for a few tours, and I've been playing drums with my feet while playing guitar, and it's been great. And I think I've got a degree of physical movement out of the crowd that I've never got really before. So if you go back to the beginning of my career, there was jumping, but now there's been like increasing levels of dancing happening all the time, and just like the whole crowd is kind of just in. And that's come from, and partly a lot of kind of boring stuff. Mine's like a rehearsing with a metronome and like boring stuff. But also the kind of physicality of it not being looped and it not being these other things. So it's actually all physically happening at the same time. But what I've been working on literally like this morning and the day before is taking that thought process and making it fully mobile, which I think is going to be really, really fun and allow me to do things that I've literally never been able to do in my career before.
Sounds exciting. So I think the fans are going to be in for a treat. So yeah, we'll wrap up there. So Octopus is out on the 19th of September. It's available to pre-order on CD and vinyl now. And Newton Faulkner comes to Project House in Leeds on the 22nd of October. Newton, thank you so much for coming on.
That's been a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure. You have been listening to Going Underground by YourCalling.co.uk, presented and produced by Graeme Smith. If you want to know more about music and culture in York and beyond, head to your podcast platform of choice to hear more episodes of Going Underground and our sister podcast, The 5 Albums You'll Hear in Heaven. Until next time, be well and happy listening.